Step one, we're going to charge up the compressor, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, both valves are closed here that feed the water to the coils, and we will hook in over here to blow air through the lines all the way back to the garden. The reason the valves feeding the coils are turned off is to keep the high pressure from going through the coils. They probably don't want much more than the 15-20 psi that's typical of a radiator. So here we go, we're hooked up, compressor's running again. Now we have opened the valve, these are closed, so it's going this way to the garden. Handles up, I think that lets the water go through. I will put it down just to see what happens. I think that is closed. That is open. We'll go to the other end of the hose, see what we see. The valve on the end of the hose was mostly closed. It's open now. You can see the water pushing out. I'll keep this going until there's air. Then we'll go back to the main part of the project. You may be able to hear that there's just air coming out now. So we can rearrange things and start blowing out the coils. Now we have turned off the valve from the hose to the system, so the compressor's building up pressure. We'll disconnect from here, but we'll leave that port open to let water out, and also we'll take the bottom off of the filter, let the water come out there when we start blowing out coils. But first we need to turn off the in valves from all but the first one. We'll start at the west end with blowing the water out because it's the farthest away. This is a special case. This coil is for the music team. There's no out valve. The in valve's wide open. Because of its height, we have to dial back the others so there's enough pressure that this one can get water. I'll move one at a time so you can see the inlet valve positions for the typical balancing, but I won't make you watch me walk from here to there. This is the eastmost regular coil, and the inlet, there are arrows, so this is an outlet. These are related to inlet. This valve is the inlet valve. I'll show you what this one's for later. You can see its position, it's part just a little ways open, maybe 25-30 degrees. There are 6 of the regular coils, so the eastmost regular coil is number 6. This is number 5, and unfortunately the valves are already shut off. I've made some marks. The roofing guys used water from the well, so I think they closed all these to get more water. Unfortunately, that put a little more pressure than I'd like through number 6. And then number 4, the valves appear to be totally closed. Number 3, the valves are totally closed. Number 2, I'm going to say not totally closed. The outlet is totally closed. Inlet, that's probably its normal position, about 45 degrees. This is number 2, the next to westmost. So this is number 1. Both valves are off here too. We usually have the inlet dialed down quite a lot because it can get rather cold for Rick running the soundboard. And again, the reason we dial back the inlets and have outlets wide open is to minimize the pressure in the coils. Balance the flow with inlets and leave the outlets wide open. Now with all the valves closed, what we will do is we'll open the inlet valve, which is this one. You can see the inboard arrow. but we'll open that wide open, and then we will be hooking in here, which is at the outlet, and the outlet valve is closed, so we can force air backwards through the coil all the way through the line back where we push the air through to the garden. So on number 1 here, the westmost, take this cap out right here, and we're going to set it where we won't lose it. Screw in this adapter for the air pressure. Now the air will go in here through, which is the outlet normally, with the outlet valve closed, so it forces it back through the coil. This valve is now open. We'll hook up the air here in a minute, and it's hooked up. We just open this valve, the air's going through. So now the compressor started to run. Coming out the filter. Somebody had that blocked up too, so I'm hoping the pressure didn't get too high on number 1. We'll check for leaks when we put in the antifreeze. So I will turn off this valve so the compressor can build up air again. Then we're going to undo this. I'll show you how we set it up to add the antifreeze. Before we put in the antifreeze, let's put the cap back in the bigger cap that you'll see in a minute. Close the inlet valve all the way. To open this valve, which is going to let the antifreeze come out, because we take this off of here. And that's where we're going to pour in the antifreeze. So it goes backwards through the coil, and when it's full, it'll start running out this port that I've added just for that purpose. Now that this valve's open, this valve's closed, this valve's closed, so the antifreeze can't go down the other lines and get wasted. Now we open the inlet valve to the next coil, and we will take out this cap to hook up the air here, and the outlet is closed, so the air will go through this one now and come out at the filter. And while that's happening, we can set up to add antifreeze in number 1, and then we can kind of chase the antifreeze one coil at a time after the air has blown the water out of each coil. So we don't have to blow the air out of all the coils first and then come back and do the antifreeze by being clever with the valves. In this case, this is where the antifreeze will come out of number 2. If that's the inlet, there's the in arrow, there's the out arrow. We'll be pouring in here, which is going to take a wrench when we put the antifreeze in, but first we have to hook up the air, blow this one out. You can see the outlet pressure set to be less than 25 psi. Can't always count on, but it helps to prevent accidents that overpressure the coils. Okay, so we're turning on the airflow to number 2. You'll hear the compressor come on any second now. The water's running, you can hear it, and then I'll go to the other end and see it come out. And some water's coming out already, even though the supply lines probably was almost totally empty after we did number 1. Finishing drizzling out here. I had poured it in this spout here, and now you can see that we have filled up the coil with antifreeze, the RV antifreeze for the winter. And now that the antifreeze came out this port after pouring in this port, we're going to open the that's the inlet valve. Keep that shut, and we'll open the outlet valve. That way if there's thermal expansion or something, there won't be pressure building up in the coil. But the inlet valve is closed in case some crazy reason, the water gets turned on and heads this way. No more water from number 2, so we will move on to number 3 with the air hose and then put antifreeze in number 2. Okay, number 3 is ready to put the air in, and we'll go put the antifreeze in number 2. All I gotta do, open the valve that is for the inlet, which is this one. The outlet's closed. Open it up. Okay, compressor's running, so I expect the water's going to come at some point, unless that's one of the coils has got enough of a leak to empty itself, which I suppose is a plus. We'll check when I put the antifreeze in. There's signs of water on number 3 here, so it probably drained itself, but I'm still going to put the antifreeze in. Number 2 is a little bit different. I'm going to put the antifreeze in here like the other and close that valve. Here, instead of another valve, this cap comes off and the antifreeze will come out there. Not seeing any leaks, and there's the antifreeze coming out here, so this is number 2. We'll check it out and make sure that the inlet is closed. Number 2 is done. The outlet line is open in case there's a pressure buildup. Don't see any leaks down below from the antifreeze. Okay, number 3 ready to go with air. We'll open up the inlet. Outlet is closed. Just got to open this. Okay, no sign of air from number 3, but I'm thinking that coil may have a leak. So we will chase that down and move to 4 and then put antifreeze in 3 and see if we see signs of leaks. Looks like there probably is leakage at number 3, but fluttering buzz suggests there's air coming out there. Okay, this is number 4. About to turn the air onto it. Inlet is open, the outlet is closed. Then we'll go do antifreeze on 3 and see if it leaks. You can hear this one going, and I think it's coming out on the ground. We'll go put it the other end anyway. No sign from number 4. I suspect that one's leaking too, but we'll go put antifreeze in 3 now. Antifreeze is coming out down here, so we won't be able to fill it up to here. But it's a worth a try this time. I'll try to put sealer on it later, on the coil. And you can see us, probably see us right before. And number 5 is set up for air to go in. Valves are set. Open this, see what happens. Okay, I can hear air down here. So we may not see any, it's over in the right corner. Probably not terrible. System still probably works like that. I'll try to seal it up with some spray sealer later. Getting some drips here. I'm a little bit surprised, but that's good. So not all the water's going out the bottom of the coil. This is number 4 set up for putting in antifreeze. We do have to open this valve here. So that's where it'll come out in that arrow, and we'll press it in the outlet and turn the valve. Actually not seeing anything coming out the bottom of this one. It's going in here. This is the outlet, and it'll come out here if I keep adding, I think. There is some antifreeze coming out that drizzle at the right bottom corner. Well, I'll see if I can get any to come out the top. Put in at least a half a gallon of scoop coming out the bottom here. Didn't make it out the top. So I think half a gallon is enough to fill the coil. We'll stop there. Number 4 is back together. Taps on. Inlet valve is open. Outlet valve is open. Outlet valve is open. Inlet valve is closed. Waiting for the compressor to shut off before I turn on the inlet valve. The reason this pipe is so tall compared to the others is for some reason this coil needed more head. I would have to pressurize the line to get the antifreeze to flow through, even though there's a significant height difference here. But this finally was tall enough that I don't have to pressurize it. It will flow through. But first we're going to push the air through it. I'm hearing quite a lot of air coming out down here, so I suspect this will show us leaking when we put in the antifreeze, but we'll go look at the outlet. This time I'm not even seeing any drips, so I expect this one leaks a little faster than number 4. Okay, number 6, turning on the air. Definitely hearing water down here. Not seeing it. Maybe it's mostly empty. From number 6, I'm guessing we'll find that there's leak when we put in the antifreeze. Okay. Oops. Dumping antifreeze in number 5 to just see where it comes out. This is the one with the extra head, but you can see it's going down pretty good now. Okay, it is running out the bottom of the right corner again. Okay, time to take this thing down. It's got a couple screws I'm going to take out that just let it leak. There's one up under here you can't almost see, and the other side. Those two come out, and I stick them in a couple holes in this board to hold them till spring. And then I try to get her back in place so it seals up well enough to do what it's got to do. You might be able to see this one's already dripping a little bit. There it goes. The other one probably too. So now the screws are just stuck there.